Hi viewers, today we discuss process plan and cost estimation. First of all, introduction to cost estimation. Create any components means you have to evaluate what are the costs invested in the particular manufacturing components. The main objective or purpose of estimating means to establish the selling price of your product. What are the costs or what are the associated costs considered to manufacturing a component profitably? Then to determine how much cost will be invested for the equipment, and then how much cost will be invested for fabricating the component and purchase the raw materials. Next, to determine the most economical process for manufacturing a component and other tools are selected for the objective of the cost estimations. Next one, elements of cost. Before going to manufacturing a product, first of all evaluate the cost investments. Elements of cost means before manufacturing the product, first identify the material cost. Material cost means classified into two conditions. First one, direct material cost, another one indirect material cost. Next, another one, labor cost. Labor cost also two conditions. First one, direct labor cost, another one indirect labor cost. Then other expenses. Other expenses means direct expenses, indirect expenses. Direct expenses means indirect expenses further classified into factory expenses, administrative expenses, selling and distribution expenses. First of all, material cost. Material cost means what are the costs invested for manufacturing component based on the raw materials. First, direct material cost. Direct material cost means from the product drawing itself we have to identify the material. What are the components we have to make, select the suitable materials, and then calculate the volume of each component from the drawing dimensions after adding the machining allowances and other manufacturing conditions. Next, calculate the total volume of the component, then multiplied by the density of the materials, then calculate the weight of the component. Next, add the other allowances. Suppose cutting allowances and other machining allowances are also considered as a direct material cost. Next, to find out the gross weight of the component. Net weight plus other allowances are added to calculate the gross weight of the component. Then cost of the materials will be calculated by gross weight of the material into unit weight of the material cost. Next, indirect material cost. Indirect materials include oils, general tools, grease, sandpapers, coolants, cotton waste, and other material invested in the during manufacturing process. These costs are indirectly involved for the manufacturing components. This is also called as the indirect material cost. Next, labor cost. Labor cost means direct labor who is actually works on the particular machining process is converted into final shape of the product is called as a direct labor. The cost associated with the direct labor is called as a direct labor cost. Direct labor means the workers operating the different machines, lathe, milling, and other machines, welding, or other operations, particularly for assembly shops. Next one, indirect labor. Indirect labor is one who is not directly employed in the manufacturing process. is associated with indirect labor is called as indirect labor cost. The indirect labor includes supervisor, inspector, foreman, storekeeper, gatekeeper. These are the examples for indirect labors. Next, other expenses. Other expenses means first one says a direct expenses. Direct expenses means include all the expenditure directly involved for manufacturing particular job. Direct expenses including for cost of jigs and fixes, patents, toolings, and other work holding devices as considered as a direct expenses. Next, indirect expenses. Indirect expenses except direct expenses. All other expenditure incurred in the manufacturing process is called as a indirect expenses. Indirect expenses also called as a overhead expenses or on cost. The indirect expenses are further classified into three types. First one factory expenses, second one administrative expenses, third one selling and distribution expenses. Indirect expenses are factory expenses. Indirect expenses incurred from the receipt of the order to the completion of the production. Same indirect expenses examples for factory rent of building, license fees, electricity and telephone bills of factory, insurance charges, all are related to indirect expenses related to factory expenses. Next, administrative expenses. Administrative expenses related to office expenses include office workers and other administrative people's wages considered as administrative expenses. Also included for administrative staff, rent of building, postage and telephone charges, water and electricity charges, and other fees considered as administrative expenses. Next, selling and distribution expenses. This is expenditure incurred on sales department for selling the product to the market. It also includes the wages, salaries, and commissions and traveling allowances of salesmen and officers. Sales department cost of advertisement, packaging, delivery, and distribution expenses also considered as selling and distribution expenses. These are the costs associated to manufacturing the particular component for evaluating the total cost of the component incurred in the manufacturing process.